Hello, it's me again. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me another week. I missed you guys. I hope you all had an amazing week. Many updates, guys. I taught my first 2 classes this weekend. Yay! I'm giving myself snaps. This weekend was super exciting. So Saturday morning, I taught a sunrise yoga, but not really sunrise because sunrise is like 6:30. So it's an 8 a.m. yoga. And it was an event for Girls Gone Social. And a few of you guys were there. I got to meet some of you guys. So that was super exciting. And it was my first time teaching a yoga class. It was a pretty good turnout. I think it was around probably 35 people, maybe, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 people. And it was a gorgeous day. Everything went smooth and I loved it. After I taught that class, I felt amazing. And then Sunday, I taught my first studio class. So that's part of my yoga teacher training, is that we all have to teach a class. So I taught a class with my partner and I absolutely crushed it. I do like teaching in a studio way better because I can control the environment and the music, and my voice can echo in the studio, and it's just such a different vibe. And you're just enclosed in those 4 walls. So I really loved it. It was the best feeling in the world. I had the support of some friends who I was able to invite to come, and then my yoga teacher training people. And I did a hip hop flow, a 2000s hip hop. So it was really fun. And then I did a little booty work in the class to make it my own. And I feel like I just unlocked a part of myself. I feel so proud of myself. I'm about to cry. I feel like I'm really coming into myself and my purpose and my power and my voice. I feel like you guys may not feel this way, but I feel like my throat chakra has been blocked for a while, my whole life. I feel like there was always something that, I'm a very confident person, but there was this one more blockage that, I don't know, I just felt like a part of me I wasn't fully expressing. And I feel like this training has helped me unlock that. And I'm really emotional because I'm also on my period. I just got my period this morning. Maybe that's why I'm really emotional. Or this whole experience has been a lot, in a good way. But I feel I haven't gotten to really soak it all in. And I have just come so far. And I hear that from you guys and I see it. And I'm like, thank you so much. But I feel like I haven't really addressed that to myself yet. But I really have. These last 3 months have been so transformative. And I just feel like a new person. And I don't know why I'm crying. I was not expecting to cry. This was not where this was supposed to go at all. I'm just really happy. And I have been blessed with the most amazing and supportive people. I really just feel like this is my year and this is my life. But this is this new me. I feel so powerful and confident and happy and supported and loved, and I really know my value and what I bring to the table, and I just feel like a badass, honestly. I feel like I have my shit together and I know what I'm doing, and it just feels really nice. Well, we don't always have our shit together. I will not always know what I'm doing. I'm still learning. I will always be a student, but I feel like I am just myself now, fully. I feel really, really confident and just positive and loving life and loving everything, even the curveballs. I feel like I can handle things really well. And I feel way more I feel like I can really communicate now too. And that's another thing. I've been really having to learn to use my voice a lot in this teacher training, and also how to be vulnerable and talk to people. And I think there's something about having to tell people exactly where to place their hands and their feet and where to look and when to breathe that has really made me hyper aware of how I communicate and how I connect with people and how to talk to people. And I think that's what I mean by my confidence, my throat chakra is unblocked now, because I feel like I really know how to talk to people. I know that if I want to get the things that I want, I have to tell people what I want, and I'm not afraid to do so. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now in life. And it's just led me to amazing people and places and things and opportunities. And I am just so excited for all the opportunities and things that are going to come my way this next year. And I can't believe we're at the end of November and it's about to be Thanksgiving. It doesn't really feel like it for me, I guess, because I've just been so busy, but I'm also not going home. I'm just going to be here, which I'm really happy about. That was a personal choice. I think the hardest things around this time, which are family and food. I feel like those are the two things that people struggle with the holidays the most. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So like I said, I'm not going home. I'm staying here in Miami. I'm going to spend it with myself and some friends. And I'm super happy about that. I had to communicate to my family like, hey, like I'm not going to come home this year. And that's my boundary. That was my boundary this year, just because I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And like I've said, I've been really busy. This feels like a time that I get to relax and unwind and give myself what I need. And also, yeah, it's just, I'm an adult now. I can make my own decisions. I love my family to death, of course, but this is truly what I need. I've also been really working on my relationship with my parents. And I've been working on that with my therapist and talking to her about that and ways to navigate those things. And it was my decision to be like, hey, like I want to have some type of relationship with my father and I want to improve my relationship with my mother. I felt like those were the last things that I really needed to feel like I'm trying to be the best version of myself and that I'm at least applying all the knowledge and all the things that I've learned over the years to them, because I feel like I apply a lot. I feel like my friends and you guys see the truest version of me and the most healed version of me. But it's hard with parents. I think they trigger me. There's obviously a lot of history there. And it's harder sometimes to apply all these things that I've learned with my parents and people who trigger me. Like sometimes they bring me back just to like this space that I don't want to be in. And I think physically maybe for you guys, if you go home, like that might bring you to a place that like actually physically a place that brings you to a bad space as well. I'll just be open about like my relationship with my father. I don't really know if I've ever spoken about it in depth, and I won't get too much in depth, but like to be honest, I don't really have one. I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw him. I think it was last Christmas, if I'm being honest. And I couldn't recall the last time I even spoke to him. It may have been around that time, if not maybe a text since then, maybe on my birthday. I honestly, like, it's really bad. Like, I don't know. And it feels like the holidays I see him out of obligation or guilt. Not that he guilts me, but like, you know, it's like, oh, I should go because my sister's going and I'm home. So, you know, whatever. And I feel like for a while, I just kind of was like, well, if he's not trying to make an effort to have a relationship with me, I don't want one with him. Like, simple. I just felt like I'm the daughter, you know, I'm the child. He should be making the effort to have a relationship with me. Like, I'm tired of being the bigger person. I'm tired of having to be the adult. I don't want to be the one to have to reach out type of thing. And it's interesting almost now that I say that out loud. It's like, it's almost like dating, like how it's bled into that of like me using, like I used to be afraid to come off as too clingy or like I need a guy or that I need his validation. Like I would be like, I'm not texting first. I'm not contacting him. Like, which I think to an extent, yes. But it took me a while to get to a point also now where it's like, it's okay to be the one to reach out sometimes. It's okay to be vulnerable sometimes. It's okay to voice like, hey, I want to see you, or I want to have a relationship with you, or this is what I want. Like, to vocalize that used to be really difficult for me because I was always, what do they want? Or I just would push people away. Obviously, if somebody continues to voice that they don't want a relationship with you or don't answer you, do not keep texting them. But it's interesting how that kind of translated into like the guys that I was choosing. It was usually the ones who like kind of didn't want me in the past, and then I would seek their validation. But yeah, anyways, back to like my dad. I spoke to one of my friends, and she also was somebody who had like a rocky relationship with her father. But she was like, I still, he's my dad, and I talk to him once a week, and I call him, and I know what I'm going to get. And at the end of the day, he gave me life, and it doesn't have to be a super deep relationship or connection, but I do still want something with him, and that's my choice. And I was like, wow, that's super mature to be like, I'm just going to call him. He gets a half hour of my time. We talk, and that's the relationship. And it'll never be a really close one, but I'm happy to have that relationship that I have with him. And I was like, okay, like, I mean, because I had been craving that, like, I've just been like, maybe I should, because I felt like maybe I should. That was kind of my last, like, sign to be like, all right, Nicole, if you want to have something, you're going to have to be the one to reach out to him. Because also, maybe he also has his own fears and issues and traumas that he just has never addressed or worked through. Because our parents come from a generation where they didn't really have therapy. They didn't, they didn't have it at all, actually. No one was talked about their feelings. They didn't have podcasts the way that we have them now. They didn't have social media and all this stuff that we have now, where we could get advice and we can follow people who we look up to, and we can talk to people, and we can go to therapy, and it's normalized, and no one makes you feel shame for it. People encourage it, and it's totally a different time. And I know my dad has his own history and his own traumas, and also parents who have given him trauma of some type, and things that he's never worked through. And I'm like looking at him like he's a little boy. Like he's just at the end of the day, another human who has his issues. And it's not up to me to fix him. And I know exactly what I'm getting. And if I want to have a relationship with him, I'm going to have to reach out to him. I'm going to have to open that door, because I've shut that door on him for a really long time. And it's not, again, like I'm like, well, it's not like he texts me and I just don't answer him. It's just, in the past he used to try and I used to ignore him. And I think that maybe that triggers a part of him. Like, I really don't know. I've never had this type of conversation with him, but I know some things about my dad. And like, maybe maybe I trigger him. Maybe it makes him feel like I'm disinterested or I don't want a relationship with him. And he's right to feel that way, because I get it. Like, I pushed him away for a really long time because of the things that he did, but he doesn't even know that the door's open, and I should open the door and see what happens if I feel it in me, because it's for me, right? So anyways, long story short, he's coming here for Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to see them on Thanksgiving. That was another boundary of mine, but I am going to see them the weekend that they're here. And I almost didn't want to, because something triggered me, and I talked to my therapist, and I was like, I still haven't answered because this triggered me, because I was talking to my stepmom. And basically it comes down to, with our parents, and if your parents trigger you, if you're spending the holiday with them, I feel like the two biggest things are just acceptance. I have to accept that he is who he is, and he's probably not going to change. At his age, he's probably not going to change, and that's okay. You just have to accept it. And I think the next thing is just like boundaries. I think those are the two things that keep me sane: acceptance and boundaries. I can accept my dad for who he is, and I'm not here to change him. And if he has certain things that are his quirks, like the thing that triggered me, I'm just kind of like, but you know what? That's him. And I can't fix that, and I can't change that. And I know what I'm going to get. And it's okay. Like, I can deal with it for, 2 hours that I see him, and just have that time to just be present and enjoy the company, and be thankful and have gratitude that I have living parents who are healthy. And at the end of the day, he does want to see me. Like I'm his daughter. I'm sure he wants to see me. And he loves me. And I have to just be grateful for that. And if I have to deal with 2 hours, if I have to bite my tongue or just smile or just go with the flow or do what he wants to do, then so be it. You know, like I feel like I'm at that point where it's like, it's okay. Like I can deal, and I can just be present and happy to share a meal with him. Just if something triggers me, I breathe, or I walk away for a moment. I know to pick and choose my battles. So that's something that so have me in your prayers. I'll have you guys in mind. But that's the thing. It's like accepting your parents. They are who they are, to be honest. And a lot of them have a lot of unhealed things. Maybe they don't want to heal those things, and that's their problem. That's their thing. We know them, their personalities, and we know the things about them that trigger us. So the best thing that we can do is just, honestly, sometimes for the holidays, for the sake of everybody getting along, for the sake of maybe the 4 or 5 days that you are home, just to let things roll off your shoulder and be like, I accept it. It is what it is. I only have to put up with this for some amount of days, and then I get to go back to my life. And sometimes that's just the best thing to do. Instead of letting things trigger us, get under our skin, pick fights, be angry, be upset, try to change things, try to shove things down their throat to make them understand. Like sometimes you just have to just let things be. And then boundaries. Have your hard boundaries in place with your family and let them know the boundary. And you can say it respectfully, whatever your boundary is with them. It's not in a way to hurt them, and it's not in a way to separate you guys. I think boundaries should be used to bring people closer, and they are. When I set a boundary with somebody, it's in the best interest of our relationship. It is preserving our relationship, because I know that is how we are going to get through this, get along. I know how to serve myself so that it can be a pleasant experience for everybody, and I don't feel like I'm sacrificing or compromising anything. I have a hard boundary, and it is so that we can have a good, healthy relationship. And I think boundaries make relationships healthy. If there's no boundaries, relationships cannot be healthy. And I think we struggle to set boundaries with our family sometimes, or at least to verbalize and communicate them for whatever reasons that we have, whether it's because we have guilt, whether it's because we are afraid to set a boundary, whether it's because we think maybe they won't understand our boundary. You have to have your boundaries. That is the only way that you are going to stay sane. A clear example is with my mom. Like, she's coming to visit me in December, and she was like coming for 5 days, and she was like, should I get a hotel or can I stay with you? And I said, respectfully, like out of love, I would love for you to stay. I want you to visit me. I want us to have an amazing trip together, but I would love for you to stay in a hotel, because I think that's just what's going to be best. Because I know after a day or two, it's going to be close quarters. There's going to be something that she says to get under my skin, and then there's going to be no separation. And I might get upset with her if she's staying here. And that was just my boundary. And I could tell that she was maybe a little bit upset at first, but then she accepted it, and she was like, okay, yeah, I can stay at a hotel. Could you please send me some options? And I sent her some options, and bada boom, bada bang, So that was my boundary. That's it. And then even now when I have my phone calls, it's like, okay, do it in the car when I'm in a good headspace. Hey, I have 30 minutes, whatever. And then when she says something that triggers me, I don't, I'm just kind of like, all right, mom, I gotta go. And that's it. And you have to actually, if your mom or your parents or your dad, your family, anybody says something that, or does something that triggers you, upsets you, you have to be like, hey, sometimes call them out on their shit. Hey, that upset me. I don't know why. I don't know if you said that to hurt me, but that wasn't a nice thing to say. That was disrespectful. So I'm going to end this conversation here, and I'm going to go, or I'm going to, do this or that. And honestly, it might throw them off guard, and they might be like, what? What? No. But you have to say no. You can let them apologize or whatever they have to say. But I would just be like, no, I am going to go. Because then they'll understand, okay, saying that or doing that really does disturb her or him, whoever's listening to this, and I shouldn't do that because that is meaning that she's gonna leave. or, whatever. And then if they do it again, because our parents tend to do that, or our families, like, they do it again. If they say do the same thing that upsets you, hey, that was my boundary, so I'm going to go. And like, let it be known that that is a clear boundary so that they'll learn, and don't let them like get away with these things, but also don't let it rile you. Don't like get so overly emotional. Like, I would just be like, hey, like, that really disturbed me, or that really upset me, or I didn't like how you said that. I didn't like the way that that made me feel. And then you do what you need to do to regain your peace. And sometimes that just means walking away from a situation and not feeding into the energy more. And then come back with just a clean slate, a clear headspace, and that's it. Also, breathe. Do not underestimate the power of breath. I talked about this in one of my TikToks and on my reel. Whenever you are in a stressful situation, breathe. Just take a few seconds, because those 10, 15, 20 seconds could be the difference between you exploding, you maybe potentially ruining Thanksgiving dinner, ruining your entire stay, especially at the beginning. You don't want to blow up on like the Wednesday and then have to go through the whole weekend and everybody's upset with each other. Just breathe. Take a few breaths, maybe walk away, go into a dark room, go into your room, go outside, and just take a few deep breaths to just come back to center yourself and calm your nervous system. And just think before you react. And this is just advice for any situation though, but especially on the holidays, use your breath to your advantage. It is our greatest tool. And there are scientific facts that, breathing techniques can help calm your nervous system and can lower your anxiety. It can calm you down. So maybe search up some breathing techniques. There's box breathing. That one's really good, really useful. Maybe have a few of those in your back pocket for when you are triggered this week for Thanksgiving when you're seeing your family. The next thing that I will say if you're home for family and you're seeing things or people that might trigger you, is keep your routine as much as possible that you have at home typically. So if you typically work out every day, if that's a big stress relief for you, if that's something that brings you peace, sets your mindset for the day, do that. Don't just abandon all your routines and habits because you're not in your space. Find a workout class in your hometown or wherever you are. Maybe go for a walk. Definitely go for a walk, actually. Go for a walk if you like to go for walks. Meditate in the morning. Don't abandon all your self-care practices. You have to still do those things because that's what sets you up for your life. That's what sets you up for your normal days and puts you in a good headspace. So make sure that you're still doing your similar routines that you always do to stay sane. So like I said, working out, meditating, you could still talk to your friends when you're away too. Doing all that stuff to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and showing up the best for yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself for your family. If anything, we should be doing more of it. Meditating twice a day, potentially. Doing skincare at night, doing a face mask, getting a massage. Maybe invite your family to do a workout class or do it yourself. But maybe they could use a workout class as well, because you know what? Our parents, our sisters, our brothers, our cousins are probably also stressed on the holidays. Everybody's bringing their own baggage and their own things into the holidays. So maybe you guys do a group workout, a group activity to make sure everybody's de-stressed and relaxed and in doing the best things for themselves too. Because, maybe if your parents or your family has people in town and staying with them, they're stressed out. Maybe they're not doing their rituals or routines. So be like, hey, let's all do this together. Let's all take an hour to do something for ourselves so that we all feel good and happy. We get our serotonin boost, we sweat it out, and that's it, So that could be an option too. But I think those are the biggest things to deal. And then also just knowing it's a couple days, and express gratitude, because there's people who I'm sure don't have family, who wish they did, who wish they could see their parents, who wish they could go home, who wish they had a warm, hot meal, who wish that they had, their home to go back to. So having gratitude for the littlest things, the biggest things, all the things is so important and grounding. I think same when I'm gonna see my dad and my stepmom when they're here for Thanksgiving, I'm just gonna be like, wow, I'm really grateful that we can go and share this nice meal together, and that I have a dad and I have a stepmom, and that they want to see me, and that I get to spend this time with them, and that my parents are still alive and healthy. So those are the things to be grateful for. Even if I don't have the closest relationship with them, I'm grateful that I still have them, and I can work on it and try and do the best to heal and mend that relationship as much as I can while I have them. That's the reality of it, unfortunately. So let's talk about food and alcohol, because you guys know I'm sober, and this will probably be my first year that I'm fully sober going through all the holidays. This is my first. I've definitely been sober on the holidays before. I think I maybe had one glass of wine last year, but this will be my first year that I'm fully sober. And I don't come from a family that really drinks that much anyways. And plus, I'm not going home on Thanksgiving, but I'm still going to be hanging out with I'm spending Thanksgiving with my friend and her family. So they like to drink wine. I'm going to be around that. And then, yeah, like Christmas time comes, like my family will pop open a bottle of wine sometimes, or have margs or something like that. So, and then plus we have New Year's coming around, and Christmas, big, I feel like, drinking holidays as well. So let's talk about how to navigate that, and then also navigating food, because there's a lot of food guilt, I feel like, around the holidays, and people are nervous about gaining weight or eating things. And I know it can be really scary if you don't have a healthy relationship with food. Like I said, I don't come from a family that drinks that much, so there's really no pressure on my end. I guess I don't have those feelings. And I don't think that it differs much from my everyday, hanging out with my friends, going out and stuff. I've been to a lot of events. I've been to a lot of celebrations that I've been offered, and I say no, and it hasn't been an issue for me. I've also found like a group of people. There's always somebody else who's not drinking for the most part. I just went to a party like 2 weeks ago for my yoga teacher training. We did Friendsgiving, and people, do you want wine? Do you want a cocktail? No, I'm great. And we're all yogis are the best people. Everybody's super understanding. Nobody cares. They're like, oh, okay, cool. A lot of them know I'm sober now, but like I haven't like verbalized that to everybody, but they kind of get the hint, or if they follow me, they know. But I didn't know that like somebody else in their group was, and me and him were talking after, and I was like, I forget what I said. He was like, oh, you're sober too? I was like, yeah. And he was like, I didn't know you were sober at the party, because we're all like dancing and singing and whatever. And I was like, I didn't know you were sober. And I was like, not us both being sober, like being like two of like the wildest, craziest people at the bunch, and us not knowing either. Like we're both. So there's people who are sober around you. I think sometimes if you talk about it, maybe somebody else will be like, wow, like I'm sober too. Who knows? You never know. I think another thing, like if you're around people who are drinking, and if you're worried about them maybe pressuring you or you giving in, I think one, try to stay away from it as much as possible. Like physically, don't be hanging out around the bar, around the alcohol. If you can not be in that area, the zone, stay away from it. I think two, like always have something in your hand so that nobody really asks if you want to drink. Like sometimes it just helps to have a cup of water, a cup of sparkling water, maybe a cup of sparkling cider around the holidays, or a hot chocolate. I don't know. Have something so that no one's really like, oh, like, do you want anything? Because no, I'm good. If they ask you, I'm good. I have this. Or I'm good for now. I always say that. I'm good for now, because then people are like, oh, like she'll want something later, and then they'll forget. So I think just having something in your hand, and then like just setting the boundary. Hey, I don't drink. There's nothing wrong with saying that. And anybody who pressures you is not a good friend and is probably projecting onto you. So you just have to hold your ground. And it's just a personal decision. Like it shouldn't affect anybody around you, and nobody should care. And if people care, that's their problem. Again, if people are judging you, then they're probably just judging themselves harder. That's like what I have to say about that. If you are somebody and if you're worried that you're gonna drink, I think just try to make your life as easy as possible and remove temptation as much as you can, and remove yourself from temptation or situations that might tempt you. I'm not putting myself in the club every single night. I'm not putting myself out at bars every single night, because why would I do that? It might make my life a lot harder if I'm constantly surrounding myself with people who drink, and I'm in places where there's just a lot of alcohol. So If there are, a lot of things that maybe you don't even really want to go to and there's going to be a lot of alcohol, then don't go. Don't go. I don't think like rob yourself of fun times or parties because you're not drinking. You should still go to those things. But if you have an actual problem with alcohol, don't. But like if you're just like, oh, like I'm just scared I'll drink, you can't be like verbalize to people, hey, I'm not drinking. And I think that then it just makes your life so much easier because people aren't then to try to make you drink. And that's just that. And then if you're like out, let's say, because you're home for the holidays, you guys go out to bars, you feel uncomfortable telling people you're not drinking, or you don't want to because you don't want to make it a thing. Sometimes I don't tell people because I don't want to make it a thing, especially when I'm out, because I don't want the conversation to be out with people who are drinking. Why do I not drink? Like sometimes I'm just kind of like, we don't have to know that because I'm having a great time. So if somebody hands you a drink or a shot, you can just hold it, dump it out. When people take shots, I'll just throw them over my shoulder. I've done that a lot of the times. Drop them on the floor. They hand them to me. I just put it back on the table. They don't look. They don't know the difference. So if that's the case, do that as well. And then fill your glass with sparkling water and a lime. And people will have no clue. And just enjoy. And just, be in the moment. Talk to people. I don't know. I've that's kind of like my biggest tip is just own it. Who cares? Don't give a shit what people think or say or what they have to say. Speak your truth. Be yourself. And I think that's hot when you have boundaries and you know who you are and you know the things that you stand for and your values. If you don't want to drink, you don't have to drink. And it's your life. So that is that on alcohol. Food. This is probably the first time in my life that I think I have the healthiest relationship with food that I've ever had. Like I'm cooking more and I'm eating the food that I make and I'm not feeling guilty about it. I am loving sharing food. I think that's a big thing too. It's like, I don't know, when I had my eating disorder and again, always something that I have to deal with, but when I was in like my prime, I guess you could say unironically, or ironically, I don't know, my prime of my eating disorder, it was like, I'd never wanted to like share my food because it was either exactly portioned out or I had this limited mindset or lack mindset that I wouldn't be able to like get it again or have it again, or that was all mine, or like I felt, I don't know, it was like a weird territorial thing when I had an eating disorder, and I didn't like sharing my food because I didn't know if I would eat that again next, or like, I don't know, it was like a scarcity mindset thing with food. My food noise has gotten a lot quieter because also when I eat food now that maybe isn't, I say in quotes, healthy. Obviously don't put things in boxes or put labels on foods because food is food. And yes, some food is more nutritional than others, but if you're saying, oh, this is healthy, this isn't healthy, you're going to have a lot of guilt when you eat something that you didn't label as healthy in your head. So when I eat, let's say, a piece of cake or the lasagna that I made last week, I don't think about it after. Like, there's no food noise. There's maybe a little chatter before of like, do I want this? Like, I have that little conversation in my head, but then I'm like, yeah, Nicole, you really want that, or you should eat that, or you can totally have that. It's not gonna kill you. It's a piece of cake. It's a piece of lasagna. And like, I don't have food noise after. Like, I just eat it and I don't think about it. And I never thought that I would ever get to that place. And I'm telling you this just so that you know that like, there is hope for you and you will get there eventually. You have to keep challenging yourself though, and you have to keep eating your fair foods, and you have to keep putting yourself in those situations where you can prove to yourself like, yeah, that piece of lasagna didn't make me a bad person. That piece of lasagna didn't make me fat. That piece of lasagna didn't make me weak. That piece of lasagna didn't, change my life for the better or for the worse. Like, it was just lasagna. And I have, if I eat 3 meals a day for the rest of my life, and hopefully maybe I live till 100, that's a lot of meals that I have going on for me in the rest of my life. So big picture, that lasagna means nothing, and I probably won't remember it in 3 weeks time or 2 weeks time. Like, I won't even remember that I ate. I couldn't even tell you what I ate 5 days ago. So you know what I mean? Like, that's how minuscule food is to us in our life, it's like probably the least interesting thing. Like, I don't remember very many things about the food that I've eaten. So I feel like you just have to think about it like that, where it's like the meal that you eat this Thanksgiving, you probably won't remember in like, a couple months time. You're not going to be like, oh, like I really shouldn't have had that mac and cheese that day because now I feel, really bad about myself. Like 5 months later, it's like, nope, that mac and cheese has nothing to do with how you're feeling or your body or anything like that. Like that mac and cheese did not break your progress. The mac and cheese did not really have that much of an impact on your life, big picture. You know what you're going to get with Thanksgiving. You know the food that's going to be there, and it's okay. It's once a year. It's one meal, realistically, and enjoy it and have gratitude. Wow, like I have this home filled with food cooked by whoever. Maybe it was you, maybe it was a family member. It's warm food. I have a warm meal in front of me with so many options. I have so many things. I get to feel full. I get to feel bloated. I get to eat to my heart's desire. That is a privilege in itself. There are people out there who are starving. There are people out there who don't get a warm meal or a warm home cooked meal or don't have many options. So the fact that you even get to eat food this Thanksgiving is a privilege in itself. So having gratitude will cure a lot of, I think, your food noise, and just be grateful for it and enjoy it fully. Because you know what, one day I'm also going to be old and I might not have an appetite. I think about it like that. I'm like, I'm so lucky that I get to be young and enjoy this and love this and crave it and want to eat a lot of it, and I have that appetite. So that's a thing in itself too. Eat the food that you want to eat. When I had my eating disorder, I remember I used to eat everything because I felt like it's there, so I have to eat it. I never allow myself to eat like this. So I would even eat things that I didn't really enjoy or want or crave that much, but it was like in front of me, so I ate it. It's like, Nicole, you don't have to eat every flavor of cookie there was on the Italian platter. You don't even like that one. But sometimes I would just like do that because it was there and I could eat it, and I'd be like, well, this is your one day, Nicole. So like only eat things that you actually really like and enjoy. I think a lot of the food guilt comes when you eat something that like maybe you like labeled as, unhealthy, or you didn't really want, and it had a lot of calories in it, and you're just like, why did I even eat that thing? Because I didn't even really want it. So I think just stick to the things that you actually really do enjoy, like genuinely that you crave and that you love. Don't like say you don't enjoy something, but you really do. I remember like that's something that I would tell myself, Nicole, you don't really like that. No, I did. I was just afraid of it. So definitely just things that you genuinely don't enjoy, don't eat. Don't eat. You don't have to eat them. Also, you know what? I also tell myself, if you want to eat Thanksgiving dinner again on Friday, you can. You could actually have Thanksgiving mid-July. So also knowing that like this food is attainable to you at any time. And that's also important. Have an abundance mindset. Do not have a scarcity or lack mindset of going in all or nothing. Like this is the only day of the year that I can eat this much, or I have this food. No, you can have it whenever you want, realistically. So telling yourself that too. It's like you can eat dessert on Thanksgiving and then also eat dessert the next day. You can have the apple pie or the pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving and also have it in a week from now. So have that mindset too. The food's always available to you. And then maybe you don't feel the need to eat so much of it, or like to binge on it, I guess. You can eat as much as you want on it, but I think to an unhealthy standpoint, because there have been times Thanksgivings where I'd overeat to the point that I would throw up because like I would eat way too much because I was like, I can't eat, this meal again. Listen to your body. If you're full, stop eating. And it's so hard. It is so hard. You have to train your brain. But don't get to that point where you're like feeling super uncomfortable, because I think that too can lead to those thoughts of like, oh, I ate too much. Just eat till you're full and satisfied. Maybe then have the one extra sweet treat on top of that, but don't eat yourself to feeling sick. And that can be really hard, but listen to your body and then have the mindset of, well, if I want to eat that in like an hour, I can eat that in an hour, but right now, like I'm really full and feel satisfied. And then I think like step away from the kitchen or from being around the food. I think we all like to hover and congregate around the food or in the kitchen sometimes. But when you do that, it's like, again, don't put yourself in temptation's way if you don't want that thing. So it's like, if you're feeling really full and you don't want to binge or overeat, step out of the kitchen, step out of, wherever people are eating, go outside, go for a little walk it off, go into the living room, just make your life a little bit easier for yourself. Also, like similar to how I said before, keep your routine. Don't starve yourself in the morning because you want to save yourself for dinner. I think that's a bad mindset to have too, of like, well, if I don't eat in the morning, then I can eat more at night, or I can eat more of Thanksgiving dinner. Have a nice breakfast that fills you, that satisfies you. Like, just make it seem like a normal day. I'm going to have a good breakfast. Like, don't put a special emphasis on Thanksgiving of like, this is the day where I eat so much and I'm going to binge so much and I'm going to, have all the food and like, I need to save myself for dinner. I think that would sometimes put me in a bad situation too, because then I'm also starving when I come to dinner. But then it's like I'm telling myself that I can't it's like that mindset of like, I can only eat a lot at dinner if I don't eat for breakfast, which isn't fair to my body or to my brain. You are deserving of eating 3 meals a day. You can eat breakfast and still eat a full dinner as well. You're allowed to do that. Have your breakfast in the morning, get your nutrients in the morning, do your morning movement, and treat it as a normal day. Have your meals. And I think that'll help with you not, if you're worried about overeating or eating too much, that'll help too. It's like, you're not going to get to Thanksgiving and be starving and be like feeling like you have to eat a lot or you can eat a lot because you didn't eat breakfast. So treat it as a normal day. I guess like those are kind of my biggest things. Drink water. Make sure you're drinking water this holiday season and get your movement in. Be grateful. What else could I tell you? I think those are the main things. The holidays are amazing. Enjoy the time with your friends, with your family, with yourself. If that be the case, I'll be with myself and then with my friends. And I'm really excited for that. Keep your peace. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. And I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. And we will chat afterwards. But remember to breathe. Remember to breathe and just spread the love and be positive. Do your morning affirmations. And that's it. I'm sending you guys so much love this holiday season. And I really hope that you enjoy your time with whoever you're spending it with. And we will talk on next week's episode of Girl Therapy. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, Nicole Doyan, TikTok, Nicole_Doyan, Snapchat, Nicole Doyan, and here on YouTube, Nicole Doyan. I love you all so much. Mwah!